we have spent almost half of this challenge stuck in League One. In our first season, things looked like they were actually going very well. We ended up finishing in 9th place. Season 2, we dropped down to 10th. Season 3, we dropped all the way down to 14th. This season, we need to do something in order to get ourselves promoted to the championships because we've only got 5 seasons left to play and we've spent 4 seasons so far in League One. If we want to get back to the Premier League before season 10, or before season 11 technically, we need to do something. And we've got £1 million to do that something. I don't quite know what that something is just yet, but what I do know is whatever we are going to do is going to be without Noan Kenner. He has left the club, signing for Lincoln for £1.2 million. So my plan when I initially signed him was keep him around for a couple of years, double our money. It's exactly what we've done. Also, Jimmy's left on a free transfer, which is kind of annoying. As has Billy Vigor, Brendan Galloway, Dan Crowley, Ted Bishop, and Willie Cambuala. Now, Willie Cambuala was a player that I did not want to lose, but he just refused to sign a new contract, so it's just run out and he's just left the club on a free transfer. And he doesn't want to join us because he's literally just left, and apparently he must hate us. But don't worry, over the summer we signed a new deal to have ourselves a senior feeder club, and that feeder club is AFC Bournemouth, which might not sound very good until I show you the 4 players that we brought in on loan this season. First up is Dante Orr, who is an English right-back and centre-back. Aidan White is next up. He is a central midfielder and attacking midfielder. Jamie Nash is a left-back. He's not going to be playing there, obviously. And Billy Armstrong can play pretty much anywhere down the middle of the pitch. We've also signed Kwadwo Ba from Watford on a free transfer. Christopher Clayson has made his loan deal permanent after his contract at Leeds expired, as has Rory McConneville after his contract at Cardiff expired. Isaiah Lewis is a youngster from Chelsea who we picked up on a free transfer. He's got 35 caps for Trinidad and Tobago. He's going to probably go out on loan for a couple of years. I've got high hopes for Isaiah Lewis. I don't really know why. Reece Burke is probably one of our best signings we've done so far in this save. 31 years of age, free transfer, signed from Stoke after his contract expired. I think we've got ourselves a very good centre-back in Reece. And finally, to replace Jimmy Turunainen, we have Othello Asgard, who has signed from Wigan, formerly of Stabæk as well. 26-year-old Norwegian attacking midfielder. Can also play on either wing if we need him to play there. I think Asgard, he's a good little player. We've also sold Johnny Birchall. He has left the club signing for Burton Albion. He was alright, but we never really... I say never really played him. We did. We played him a lot, but he came off the bench most times. He's gone to fellow League One side Burton Albion for £220,000, which actually is some good money, I think. So I hope you will agree that I've done some pretty good summer signings so far. Most of them, in fact, all of them on free transfers or loan deals. We have strengthened the squad, and my objective was to make sure that we did not lose too many first-team players, and if we did, we replaced them, which I think we have done. Although, what's frustrating is currently we're still predicted to finish down in 14th place where we finished last season. I think we are going to do better than that. We need to be finishing 6th or above. That needs to be our objective. We need to get promoted this season. If we don't, we could be in for a very, very difficult time getting out of the Championship and into the Premier League with just 4 seasons to do it. We've also got the FA Cup to worry about, which, to be honest, I'm not that fussed about it. We've got the Carabao Cup, which we'll be playing Sheffield United in the first round, and the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, which, again, I don't really care about it. Unless we win it, then it's the best thing. It's just the best competition ever made. We've now jumped forward to the 2nd of September. The transfer window has closed, and we've spent a little bit more money. Let's see what we've done. 2 players to mention leaving the club. Julian Larson, first up. He's gone back to AIK, a team that he left back in 2019. He's gone there now in 2028. He's had some good seasons, but he's been replaced. £110,000. And Sonny Al-Jafri has also left the club. He is signed for Blackpool. He did actually play a fair amount of times last season, most of them off the bench. £160,000 for Sonny. I don't think we were ever going to play him, particularly once we brought in players like Reece Burke. Al-Jafri was just kind of dropping down the pecking order. 7 players have also joined the club in the last 2 months. 6 of them on free transfers, and one of them we've actually paid money for. O'Shea Ellis is the first one to join on a free transfer. Defensive midfielder, that's what I brought him in for. He's probably going to be going out on loan because I don't think he's good enough right now. Still only 22, plenty of time to develop. Ben Elliott is probably one of my better players, and I don't know why. I don't know why his value's so high, but for some reason, he's got a nice high value. He's got 58 caps for Cameroon, joined on a free transfer from, I'm going to say Solihull Moors. It was from Solihull Moors. He dropped down to the Vanarama North for a season, and then we picked him up, and he's actually getting into our first team. So Ben Elliott, I think, is a good signing. Jack Bycroft is a 26-year-old English goalkeeper, formerly of Swindon and Southampton, and a few loan deals as well. He's come in. He is never going to kick a ball for us. He'd come in because he's English, and he's cheap. That's literally it. Another one for the future is Dave Simpson, 18 years of age, released from Chelsea. We picked him up. We're probably going to send him out on loan. 24-year-old Dane Scarlett has joined from Leyton Orient on a free transfer. This one I'm quite excited about. However, I've also bought another very good striker, so Dane Scarlett might not play a huge amount of football for us. And that striker is Luca Fletcher, formerly of Manchester City. I think we've got ourselves a potential superstar here. Only 21 years of age, will be 22 come the end of the season. We had to fight off some stiff competition for Fletcher. I'm talking championship sides. He's getting paid nearly £5,000 a week. His agent wanted £2,000 a week, so we kind of just had to throw money at Fletcher in order for him to join us, and he has eventually managed to do that, and I think this is a very good signing. And the final player to join is Ellery Balcom. The 28-year-old English goalkeeper has signed for an actual fee of £78,000. It's actually his most expensive transfer he's ever done, because the previous one was £76,000. Ellery Balcom, he's a good goalkeeper. I think we've got ourselves a good goalkeeper. If he's here for a couple of seasons, maybe 2-3 seasons, that's quite good if we get promoted. And by if, I mean when we get promoted, we probably do need to replace Balcom sooner rather than later. But right now, he is by far our best goalkeeper. Which means Christopher Clayson, who literally signed in the summer, is now our number 2 goalkeeper, and Jack Bycroft is our number 3. Taking a look as well as the players leaving on loan, some quite interesting ones here. Aaron Mifsud is a player who I think is going to get good. He just needs some game time. He's going on loan to Larne. Isaiah Lewis, who we signed earlier on in the transfer window, he's gone out on loan to Southend for the season, which is good. Dynel Sameo has gone out on loan to Woking to hopefully get some game time there. We've got Stephen Pace, by the way. This is the reason why I signed Jack Bycroft. Pace was my number 3 goalkeeper, and then we've loaned him out to Blythe Spartans, so I needed a number 3 goalkeeper. We've got, who else? Andrew Dallas has gone out on loan. Okay, right, hear me out. I didn't want to lose Andrew Dallas, and then I've kind of replaced him with lots and lots of better players. So we tried to sell him, and nobody wanted to buy him, so we've loaned him out to Partick Thistle. They're paying most of his wages, not all of them, and he's out of contract at the end of the season, and he'll probably just leave. He's had a lovely time here, but Andrew Dallas, he's gone, basically. A few others to mention as well. Ashley Rogers, the central defender, he's gone out on loan to Cambridge. What else have we got? Samuel Archer, I feel like he's an important one. He is. He's the goalkeeper. He's also gone out on loan. Another reason why we brought in Jack Bycroft. And yeah, that is pretty much it. There's obviously some other names there that might turn into good footballers. But for the most part, we've just loaned out ones for the future. And so far in the season, we are 5 games in. We are currently sat in 10th place. It's not ideal. It's not awful, but it's not ideal. I obviously want to be doing a lot better than that. When it comes to the squad and the tactics and the players we are locking in 2 players. We are locking in Finley Burns as a defensive midfielder, because if we don't do it, they play him as a centre-back, and we're locking in Kwadwo Bar as a right midfielder, because if we don't do that, they don't play him at all. So we need to lock in Bar, we need to lock in Burns, and that's all we're going to go for. We're also top of the Bristol Street Motors Trophy group, which is, no one really cares. We're playing under-21 sides, Crewe and Fleetwood, and we've been knocked out of the Carabao Cup. So we're looking at League One, we're looking at the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, and we're getting knocked out probably in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. We've jumped all the way now to the 1st of January. We have played 27 games. We're up to 7th place in the table, so we are on the edges of the playoffs, which is what we kind of want to be doing. Obviously, we want to be in the playoffs, but we are at the right end of the table. 10 defeats is a bit of an issue. Quite a lot of defeats, and some of them are big as well. 4-1 against QPR, 5-3 against Crawley, a 3-0 against Bolton, a 4-1 against Watford, a 4-3 against Preston. That's going to hurt, because they're literally 1 point above us. That could be awful. And we have also made it to the FA Cup 3rd round, where we are going to be playing against Wolves. We can see Bournemouth are playing Brighton. I feel like Wolves is where we're going to fall over, which is it's fine. I mean, I'd like to be away for some of these games, because it gives us a nice big bit of money, because basically, if you don't know, you get half the ticket sales go to each team. So if you play a Man United and they sell out, like the 70, 80,000, whatever Old Trafford is, you get 40,000 tickets worth of money. Whereas at Oldham, there's 14,000 capacity and Wolves are getting half of that, so we're only getting 7,000 tickets worth of money. There's logic there. That's why a lot of teams want to play away in the 3rd round against Premier League sides. Obviously, being January, the transfer window is open. We've got £635,000 to spend. I don't know what we're going to do, because we're doing quite well in the league, and that's realistically what we want to be doing, so I don't think we're going to be spending a huge amount of money. Or we might just kind of break our record transfer. I say break it. It's not broken, I don't think, but we spent a lot of money on David Kasumu, 29-year-old Nigerian defensive midfielder, signed from Huddersfield for £150,000. I think he's a very good player. At 29, yes, he's not got a huge amount of years ahead of him, but if he's good enough to kind of hold down that defensive midfield role for a couple of seasons, I'm quite happy with that. 150k is not a lot of money. Something interesting has also been happening in the FA Cup. We managed to draw with Wolves in the home leg. I say home leg because we got to a replay. We scored in the 99th minute of injury time to secure a draw in that one. Asgard, the man to do that. And then we go to Molineux and beat them 1-0. Dane Scarlett scoring in the 118th minute. We then, in the FA Cup 4th round, beat Crystal Palace 1-0. Alex Hunt with a goal in the 87th minute. It means we are through to the FA Cup 5th round. So just to put it into context, we managed to knock out Premier League Wolves in the 3rd round. In the 4th round, we knock out Championship Crystal Palace. In the 5th round, we have Championship side Hull. There are not a lot of Premier League sides left. We've got Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, Man United, Brentford, Everton, Forest and Liverpool. That's it. That's what, literally half of the teams in the 5th round are Premier League sides. The other half are Championship and League One. There are 3 League One sides still in the FA Cup. So tactically, we are obviously sticking with the same formation. We are still locking in Bar. However, he is injured. He's fractured his rib. He's missed a fair amount of football, which is kind of frustrating. But Bar is still going to be locked in on that right-hand side. So when he does return, he will go straight in there. We are dropping Burns from that defence midfield role. Not because he's not very good. He is very good. But I kind of like his versatility. So not locking him in means that if we need him as a centre-back, he'll play there. If we need him as a segundo volante, he can play there. So it's fine. There's logic to this. We've also managed to move ourselves up into the playoffs in League One as well, but we are joint on points with Preston. We are 10 points behind automatic promotion, but there's a big group of teams who are kind of in this fight. I'd argue down to Sheffield Wednesday, to QPR, who are in this fight to get into one of those 4 playoff spots. So I quite fancy our chances. We're going to jump forward then to see how well things have gone. It's the 22nd of April, and I've basically come back at this point because I thought, you know what, that's when the regular season finishes, and we finished 4th place on 80 points, along with 3 other sides we finished in 4th place. I believe it means we're going to be playing Reading in the playoffs. However, that's not the real story here. In the FA Cup 5th round, we beat Hull 3-1, putting us through into the quarter-finals, where we beat West Brom 3-2. We now have Tottenham, Arsenal, Swansea and Oldham, and I thought when this draw was coming out, I was like, we're getting Spurs or Arsenal, aren't we? If we get Swansea, we've got a chance to get to the actual final of the FA Cup. And we got Swansea, and we beat them 3-2. We are playing Spurs in the FA Cup final. We score the winner in the 89th minute. Luca Fletcher, the man with the goal. I don't know how we've done this. I genuinely have no idea how we've managed to do this, but we are playing the FA Cup final against Tottenham from League One with Oldham. And we're in the playoffs. We've got a very busy few months. If we actually have a look, we've got, technically 4 more games to play if we go through the semi-final. We've got 2 matches at Wembley. We've already played 1 match at Wembley as well, beating Swansea 3-2. We may as well have our own dressing room there at this point. So we have come back just after the playoff final where we were up against Sheffield Wednesday. That's right, we managed to get through past Reading and we managed to absolutely batter Sheffield Wednesday 5-2. In fact, it probably should have been 6-2, but we had a goal disallowed right at the end. So we have managed to be promoted, but we still have 1 more game to play as we head to Wembley where we will play Tottenham Hotspur. A match that I kind of think we might be able to win. On the stroke of half-time in the FA Cup final, Oldham Athletics score against Tottenham Hotspur. Cadwell Bar with the goal. The problem is, we were already 3-0 down at this point. We did manage to make it 3-2 shortly into the second half. It was Smith, ball forward to Fletcher, on the ground to White, takes a few touches, and actually a very good finish. But Tottenham obviously were far too powerful for us, beating us 5-2 in the end. Williams with the final goal of the game in the 93rd minute. Spurs, definitely the deserved winner, but the fact that we managed to get to the FA Cup final with this Oldham side is absolutely ridiculous. Also, the fact that Ellery Balcom got an 8.2 in the final shows that we probably should have lost about 10-0. But yeah, we managed to score twice, only concede 5, and we've not really embarrassed ourselves too much. But ultimately, this is the real story. We have been promoted from League One. We are into the Championship for Season 7. We have 7, 8, 9 and 10. 4 seasons left to play for us to find promotion back to the Premier League with this Oldham Athletic side. If it goes anything like it did in League One, it might be a bit of a struggle. One of the reasons why we've managed to get promoted, I think, this season, and to also do quite well in the FA Cup, obviously, is lots and lots of people are scoring lots of goals. Dane Scarlett only started 8 matches, 18 as well off the bench, getting double figures, 11 goals. Asgard also getting double figures and double assists as well. 14 assists, 12 goals. Quadro Bar also getting double assists and double goals. 12 goals, 18 assists. Alex Hunt from that Segundo Volante role. 15 goals, 11 in the league. 10 assists in the league, 11 in all competitions as well. Andre de Cruz was probably one of our main strikers. In fact, definitely was one of our main strikers, scoring 29 goals in all competitions. And Luca Fletcher, I thought he was going to do pretty well, and in fact, he has done very well. 32 goals, 11 assists in all competitions. Luca Fletcher, for a free transfer, he might not be sticking around for too long. He might be a one-season wonder, but the fact that we've managed to get to an FA Cup final and get promoted to the Championship all in one season, Luca Fletcher has been a very big part of that. Couple of honourable mentions as well. Ben Elliott, a player who on paper, and by paper I mean his attributes, does not look very good, managed to get 9 goals and 10 assists. I assume probably playing from that right-hand side when Barr was injured, and then dropping back to a Segundo Volante role when he wasn't. Bournemouth loanee Aidan White as well, scoring a goal in the FA Cup final, which is obviously very, very good for us. He's done pretty well, 13 assists, 7 goals. And Jamie Nash, also the Bournemouth loanee, playing on that left-hand side, managed to get 13 assists in the league, 16 in all competitions, 5 goals as well. So, when you look at how well we've performed as a team, we've got a lot of goals, we've done very well. I mean, sort by appearances, 58 appearances and 1 off the bench for Barr, and he missed a lot of football due to injury. We've had some pretty horrendous injuries. I mean, you look, Balcom's played 58, and then we've got a goalkeeper there, Clayson. He's played 4 as well. Jack Bycroft, the only person to not actually play a game. Fair enough. And the average rating, 7.8. Is that going to be Barr at the top? It's not. It's okay, we'll ignore you. Luca Fletcher is the highest average rating with a 7.41 across all competitions. A 7.4 in the league, a 7.29 in the FA Cup as well. Luca Fletcher has been absolutely outstanding for us, and I hope he can do the same next season because we've got some money. We've got £3 million to spend. I do not know what we're going to do with that.